tuning in today. I'm so excited about what we're about to talk about. Today's topic is PTSD and trauma in the workforce, addressing mental health and post accidents. This is a huge topic that is not really talked about. People experience this every day. We have some special guests today, Tasha Hairston-Springs, and we also have Nicole Ward, the president of African American Women in Trucking Association. So I'm Natasha, your host, Natasha Jones, CEO of HC Screening and Laboratory. And we also sit on the advisory board for the Mental Health and Wellness Committee. So our guest speaker today, Tasha Hairston-Springs. I'll read her bio right now. She has done a lot in the community as far as safety is concerned, but she is a passionate road safety advocate, transportation safety consultant, and transformational speaker dedicated to eliminating distracted driving crashes. After surviving a life-altering distracted driving crash in 2012, Tasha founded Mindfully Aware Driving Solutions, MAD Solutions, to help drivers break the habit of distracted driving through mindfulness-based education. She created the MAD Method, a 21-day mindfulness program designed to eliminate mobile device use behind the wheel. As the advocacy and outreach director for AUTA, she works to improve driver safety culture, reduce crash risk, and educate communities on the dangers of distracted driving. So that in itself is a lot. And this is why she's the expert for tonight. So Tasha, could you tell me or share with us a bit about your background and what led you to focus on workplace trauma and mental health?
Yeah, thank you, Tasha. I love the introduction. I appreciate that. Well, with the workplace trauma and how I got into advocating for it in the workplace, when I crashed, I had a lot going on. I was at work, I was going to school, I was doing a whole lot of stuff, and I put it together like with working and the crash. It was like I was going to school, I was doing all this stuff, and I was trying to improve my life, but my life wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing. So in the trauma, having to crash and not being able to go back to work, and my life changing, me having to move in with my mom, it was a lot of trauma. So being in the workplace, a lot of things that happened with my crash was I was at work, I was overworked, I didn't have enough sleep. There was a lot of stuff going on in the car that night when I crashed, and just trying to go back to work, knowing that I would never be able to go back to work and use my hands, it was devastating.
Mm. So there was a defining moment in your career that you just said that you were on your way to work and you had a crash. Could you walk us through that day, like, and how, it shaped you to do what you're doing?
Well, that particular night I had got off work. I had been working like 12-hour rotating shift. So I would only get like 4 hours of sleep every day, and I would hit the ground. It was just like a rotating cycle of going to work and trying to fit when I was off that night, I was trying to fit my whole life into a couple of hours. So when I crashed, it was just, I don't know, it just like my life flashed before my eyes. And I was like, when I woke up in the hospital, all the stuff that I had done, one thing that I was worried about was going back to work. And I was like, why am I worried about going back to work? Like, part of my face is gone. So that trauma and waking up in the hospital and wanting to go back to work, I was like, I got to heal before I go back to work. And it never dawned on me that I would never go back to work.
Mm. So that kind of shaped your passion for supporting employees through high stress and traumatic events.
Yeah, because like at the job that I had, it was a lot of stuff going on. People were dying in car crashes, going to sleep, leaving work. So it was a thing that was like trending at work. It was a couple of people had heart attacks at work. And that was traumatic in itself to be at work and the ambulance pull up and the person that they taking out of work is dead. And
Mm.
You got to go back to work though. So that is something that's a reality, something that I actually went through at work. And I mean, that was manufacturing. So just imagine being in the transportation industry and getting in a crash, in an 18 wheeler or any kind of fleet vehicle, and then it affects like the whole community. Everybody, people might not look at it this way, but everybody gets a piece of that trauma when they hear the story. So that's one thing that I have learned with my story and the trauma that I have seen in my life. Most of it was tied to being at work.
Mm. So tell us more about, because you do have a mental health background as a therapist. So looking at through that lens, what effects can you foresee happening when someone goes through a crash, heart attacks, that also can cause PTSD? Just having sickness on the job and you still have to go to work, or, you know, just talk about that a little bit. Like, what effects are on the employees that the employers don't see?
They don't see how hard it is to wake up and come to work and perform when you don't have support. And if you have like an open door policy, you can go and talk to your leadership or HR and let them know like, hey, I have this problem. And you don't, like working with mental health is a stigma, especially in the Black community, about seeking help. But I have learned from personal experience with the extent of trauma that I have had to deal with in my life, getting therapy and asking for help. If a person you don't want to go to therapy, go to church. But um, these employers need to have programs put aside, like the I can't remember the letters. I'm trying to remember 'em. The employee assistance program,
Mm-hmm.
things like that to support um, employees. Because even like at my job, the job that I had before, when the guy had the heart attack, they didn't like they didn't offer us any like support. And that was kind of weird because they did give us like really good benefits. So I didn't understand why they didn't have like grief counseling or something, because a lot of us was close to some of the people that were passing away and getting hurt at work. So it's just things that I think like now that I'm talking and thinking about for mental health. So the stigma, people won't feel so stigmatized about talking about it and wanting to actually get help, because people really do need help. So I believe employers need to play a better role in supporting employees that way.
Absolutely. I remember a time I was working in the ER, and there was a call that went out. There was a guy who went into the parking deck. It was like a 6-story parking deck. And I guess his girlfriend or something was in the hospital. She broke up with him in the hospital. He went to the top of the parking deck, and we ran out. We saw him jump off, and it was the most traumatic experience ever that I've seen in my life. The way that it looked like he just smushed to the ground, and we still had to work. We still had to stay on our shift. There was no help for that. We, being a nurse, we had to just continue to work and come back the next day. So employers, they are really clueless when it comes to how, especially upper level management, they forget that they used to be in the shoes of the new employees. Onboarding is so different nowadays. So we really need to really find a connection between leadership and employees, so that there is some help. EAPs is not enough, and I'm saying that right now because it's on the employee to call. It's not a mandation. It's not a part of their onboarding or their HR chart. This is something that needs to be talked about. So what common signs of PTSD in employees have you seen, or how can managers recognize them?
One of the things that I have noticed, and I will keep using myself as an example because I've lived I'm living with it, and I don't just have post-traumatic stress. I have complex post-traumatic stress, which is childhood trauma on top of the other trauma. So it's like a lot of trauma. Um, but one thing is aggression, missing days out of work, coming to work, not really doing anything. Um, one thing that I have noticed with some of the people that I have talked to is like they don't want to be here anymore, or like talking like that, and just not really taking care of themselves. You see a change. The person is not the same. They don't enjoy the things that they used to enjoy. They don't. A lot of people disassociate. One of the things that I do is disassociate because of the way like people that are close to me have done things. Is like now I'm so sensitive to everything. Is like as soon as I see a red flag, I'm like, okay, hold up, wait a minute. So it's like even from my own lived experience, I can see myself in somebody else, and I see the signs, and I know like, okay, I need to talk to this person. And it is people that I have ran across in the street pumping gas, and just that conversation helped them. And then I would tell them, if you ever feel this way again, dial 988. You'll have somebody to talk to. It's confidential. And that's some of the things that I tell people to do if they come to me with anything like that. And I mean, it is you. I mean, if you love somebody and you see the signs like that, they're not the same, something's not right. It Ask them, talk to them, make them feel comfortable.
Yeah. Do you think that there's like any courses or anything like that that leadership can take to help them be more in tune with what's going on?
Um, One thing that I have just kind of learned about with like trauma informed care in the workplace, like learning things to help when you see the signs, how to help people deal with it. Or like I said, one of the things I want to do is advocate for it, and like get laws, get policies in place where employers are mandated to create some kind of program that can help the employees. I mean, that's the workforce is the assets. The people are the company, and you need to have programs in place where people feel comfortable coming to work and not having to worry about other things. And I believe that making policies that will make the employee, well, I ain't gonna say make, but you know, get it where people, the awareness, bring awareness to it. Let people know what's happening. How can I help you? These are the services that are available. We need to make this like front and center because it's affecting so many people in different ways. And then people are scared to even talk about it sometimes because it's stigmatized. And it's like, it's not fair. Like, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah, and a lot of times, people say go to HR. HR is not designed for the employee at all.
Right.
It is for the company. Um, so with that being said, the stigma you talked about, how can we take that a little bit further? Because we're in an industry where is male dominated, and you don't want to be seen as weak or inferior in these industries. What strategies are effective for reducing that stigma?
I believe making some kind of employee programs where you community engagement, where you bring people in to get people to trust what you're talking about, bring in programs that support people so they can tell you what's going on in their life without feeling judged or I don't know, alienated. Because a lot of people will isolate. They, like me, I will self isolate sometimes, and I have to like not be around people, not be around noise, just like nothing. And I bring myself back to who I am. But it's people out there that don't have the support system that I have. And that's one of the things that I do want to create eventually one day, a nonprofit where I'm able to help people that have had work place trauma, like everything that we're talking about. And I'm glad that I have met you, because that is something that we can do. Is, I mean, we're both passionate about it. So it's like, what can we do to all these questions that that we're answering? I mean, yeah, that we're answering right now. We can be that source. And I truly believe that in my heart, because of what I have been through. Is like, if I can reach out and pick somebody up and let them see, like, look, I didn't been through all this stuff and I'm still moving forward. Come with me. Let's see what we can do together. Because this is not easy. I When I went to the gala, the first gala I went to, y'all don't know this, I put myself in the hospital 3 times before I went to that gala. Being at that gala, you just don't know how empowered I felt to stand there and just be there. I drove myself there. I'm here. I'm alive. It's rough. Post-traumatic stress, you don't, it's loud noises, being around a lot of people. It's hard. I had to push myself out of my comfort zone. And I did it. And I was super proud of myself. Like, I was like, if I don't do nothing else this year, I did that. So if I can help inspire, motivate, and push somebody else, then that is what I'm here for. And that's what I'm going to do. And if I can create that with Ada, then that is what I'm going to do.
That's awesome. I love that. And we are definitely appreciative that you made it. You're an integral part of the team. Um, so we just walked through the actual trauma in the workplace, and we touched a little bit on the support and the culture. I want to dig a little bit deeper into that because that's important. The workplace, especially corporate America, is toxic. No matter what field you're in, is toxic. And understanding that we have to break down these barriers, these different cultures that are deemed acceptable right now, without having PTSD trauma and all these other things added on top of it. We really need to band together and figure out what can we do to eradicate the toxic culture. So one of the questions that I have is, how should employers support workers after traumatic incidents? And I know you already touched on EAP, but we need to really, how do we use the EAP? What other sources are available?
Um, I think like support groups, if you have like a support group and you know that you can go to these people and you can tell them how you feel, and they're not going to hold it against you. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do that. They're actually there to help you. They want you to get better. They want you to, like, reach your full potential, your full human potential. Yeah, you done been through some bullshit, but hey, look, we're gonna pull this together. We're gonna get in this group, and I'm gonna push you, and you're gonna push me. We're gonna hold each other accountable, and we're gonna make it. Because the one thing that I do know about post-traumatic stress and complex post-traumatic stress is the suicidal ideation, the heavy weight of carrying different traumas in your body, and it's like, that is something that is hard to deal with on your own. You are not alone. I am here with you. So trust me, you're not alone. So this is something that I'm working on, like within my own company.
Okay. So what I think what I hear you saying is that there's multiple facets to PTSD. It's not just the trauma; it's suicide, depression, anxiety, whatever else is on top of that. So it takes a village to have a support system when something like that happens to a person in their life, and especially if they still have to go back to work. Do you find that going through these programs help with productivity and enhancing your safety?
Yeah, like the MAD method, what I created, because that is how I'm dealing with my complex post-traumatic stress and all the other evil things. Because it's like, I look at stuff like evil energy and positive energy, and when the negative energy comes, is like, how do you transform this into something good? And once I do that and I'm like, okay, I'm here now. And then you know what happens? You want to know what happens?
What happens?
Um, the thought that I just had just flew out my brain, and I don't know what I was just talking about because I got the little perimenopausal stuff going on too. So I got a whole bunch of stuff going on. I can't even remember my train of thought. Just left. It went choo choo and just left the station.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so in a nutshell, supportive programs they help, right?
Right.
As you mentioned before, you know, especially in the Black community, like we don't seek out help. And what do you think? Like, why? What is the reason for that?
Fear of people talking about you, like, oh my God, she crazy. So it's like, I'm not finna go talk to no doctor. You talk about I'm crazy. I can handle this. I got it. And then you have people that I'm gonna go to church, and those people, but sometimes it works and sometimes it don't, and you got to take medication and you got to go to the therapist because then the pastor gonna tell you to go to the therapist, and then it's your choice to do it or not.
Mhm.
It's all you. We have resources, and I have a freebie, I have a handout that I have, and I think I put some resources in it. But we have resources. We can reach out and find the people that we need to talk to, people that we can trust, people that will help guide us the right way. Because this is rough. Like for me, this having post traumatic stress and CPTSD is not easy. And it runs in my family, and it's like, what can I do to stop it from running in the family? What can I do to stop it from affecting other people? So, I mean, that I don't know. That's just that. It's a lot.
Absolutely. I think having webinars like this is important so that people can understand that we also seek, you know, mental health care for ourselves. We also do go through the things, the motions, and we all have high stress, demanding positions. So, how do we take care of ourselves versus a person who is spiraling out of control? Where's the resources? So I think that the first step is just talking about it, getting in communities where, you know, the stigma is broken down. You have anything to add, Nicole?
Well, no, I was just in agreement with you when comes down to that, you know, especially when it comes down to the stigma. We're just looked at within as a community as a weaker link when we admit that, you know, there's something going on. And to me, that is such a superpower because I'm human. And I think that is okay to say I'm human. I am not a machine. I'm not a robot. And I'm doing things to better myself. And so I always say it's something to look at as something positive. I'm trying to be a better person, a better version of me for the world. And so it's unfortunate that we do look at it like that within our community, and that community is the Black community. However, we are changing that stigma, right? That's why we're having these conversations. There's three powerful, amazing Black women talking about mental health, talking about PTSD, and doing what it takes to normalize this conversation to ensure that we're able to support others. So with that being said, I thank you ladies both for ensuring that you know that we're here today.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Y'all just don't know.
Absolutely. So, I wanted to touch a little bit on like the compliance piece of it. And that can get so broad, right? When we talk about compliance, but a lot of times, and we're speaking, you know, specifically in the trucking industry, DOT period, if you show any inkling of, you know, substance abuse or incapacity, you're not able to operate your vehicle. You're not able to go back to work. Yes, they have programs in place for that, like return to duty, or, you know, you sit with a medical examiner or whatever it is. However, it's still punitive at the end of the day, right? I know drivers who have been out of work for years because they have that one ding on their record, right? So on that scale, right? So what are the legal protections for employees experiencing work-related PTSD?
With you saying that and bringing up compliance, one of the things that I was thinking about was can you ask me that question again? I need to write it down too so I can remember.
No worries. So what I was saying is that we are working in an industry right now where, compliance is equal to punitive measures, right?
Right.
You're put out of work because, you made one mistake in your life. You had an accident and, you're not able to come back, to work right away. If you don't have short-term disability or long-term disability, you're out of there. And then, someone's there replacing you. So I was asking, what are the legal protections for employees experiencing work-related PTSD?
That will fall to me with FMLA, having an employer that has FMLA in place. So when the employee, like myself, I will keep using myself as an example because it happened to me. I got the lived experience. So they were gonna let me come back to work, but my hands were too damaged. I was working on a machine and I had to put like pieces. It was complicated. So they tried to hold my position, but they couldn't. They took it as long as they could. But I had my FMLA. I was getting paid as a machine operator. I was for a pharmaceutical company. I was making pretty good money. So I had all my insurance in place. And they had insurance on us also. So it was like when the crash happened, I had money saved, everything was good. And I had my employee assistance program. I called them. People at work was donating food and money, and I thought everything was cool. But it's only because I had FMLA. For people that don't have FMLA, like owner operators, and they have like these high insurance premiums and stuff, trying to be in compliance, and you can't necessarily do everything that you need to do. Fall back on me again. I didn't have insurance on my car when I crashed. So it's like all these different elements of compliance, regulations, all these different things is like advocating for changes, advocating for, I guess, like for FMLA to be more, the terms or something to be rewritten because of the things, times are changing, and mental health now is something that is being brought to the forefront because of all these crashes that's happening. And everybody is seeing like these crashes have turned into like $1 billion industry. And this is the crash industry. Like, how are you gonna make a industry out of crashes? So it needs to be some more regulations put in place for the not distracted driving, but for the things that's happening as far as where am I going with this? As far as the compliance, it needs to be more things directed towards the employer to be held responsible for their employees. It's pretty much what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. Legal protections, that can get really broad and vast when we talk about legal protections. And we're not lawyers here, but
Right.
I do know that there are resources out there for people who have suffered from, substance abuse, PTSD, trauma, post accidents. The list goes on. But it all goes back to being educated and understanding your rights as an employee when you come into the workplace. It's also important to know that you have to advocate for yourself. No one's going to advocate for you.
Right.
So Mad Solutions, you came out with this program, the 21 days mindfulness program called the MAD method. And I feel like that program that you created can help bridge some gaps between the mental health and workplace compliance issues. And then there's also programs that I have as well, but I want to focus more on this method that you have for 21 days, because, they say 21 days, you break a habit, right?
Right.
What are you talking about in this method?
The MAD method, mindfully aware driver's method, the 21-day method is like neuroscience, behavioral science is evidence-based, mindfulness-based, and it like rewires your brain. So you set your intentions, visualizations, breathing exercises. I meant to start a breathing exercise. I'm nervous, but I was supposed to, you were supposed to breathe with me. And maybe I still have time.
You got time?
Okay, good. Because I need to do a breathing exercise that will help people like stay calm. And I do it a lot when I'm driving. So the MAD method, the 21 days, um, I'm still developing parts of it, but in that 21 days, you break the habit of always wanting to pick your phone up. And that is my objective, is to break the connection, like the relationship. Because I read a book and it said something about having a relationship with your phone, like your phone is your boyfriend or something. It's like your significant other. And you need to break up with your phone. And I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Now, how can I use that in my method? So you got to take your apps off the phone for 21 days. It takes 21 days to begin to break a habit. It starts to break. So while it's breaking, you have to replace the bad habit with a good habit. So the good habit is now when you get distracted or you feel whatever, breathe, stop, just stop everything you're doing. I'm training you how to do this. So you start to be mindfully aware of your breathing. Let me stop and breathe right now. I need to calm down. And this ain't, I don't need to feel this way. Why am I feeling this way? And as you're going through the method, you start to become more mindful, because I use meditation and prayer to help you center yourself and bring yourself back to your source of who you are. And as you're doing this, you're becoming aware of everything you're doing in the car now. So now you start feeling bad. Why am I feeling bad? Because you're doing stuff that you know you're not supposed to be doing. So it brings that awareness. But then I bring in the journaling and the support. I have a private Facebook support group. We're all in this together for the 21 days as we're breaking this habit. And I'm in it with you, because I still have a bad habit with my phone. But now, because of the MAD method, I don't mess with my phone while I'm driving. I don't even talk to people. I've got to the point where I don't have my radio on when I'm driving, because I'm focused. Like I'm just driving, or like I'm seriously just focused on the road. So it it works for me. So hopefully, as I'm sharing it, it will work for other people. It's just, you have to want to be a safe driver.
Absolutely. So, as we're getting ready to close, and do you want to do the breath work before we do that?
Yeah, let me see. I'm trying to remember what it is. All right, so it's a controlled breathing exercise. It helps reduce stress, and you just like breathe in 4, breathe out 4, breathe in 4. So when you breathe in, you inhale 4 counts, hold for 4, and then exhale for 4. And it will help calm your body. And since it's like almost 9 o'clock, hopefully it'll help you relax and look at TV or whatever you're gonna do for the evening. So let's start with sitting up in a nice straight position. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaws, relax anything that may feel tensed up, anything that's tight in your body. Just sit and relax. So we're going to breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, and exhale for 4. All right, let's go. Hold for 4, exhale for 4. That was a very short exercise, but just taking that deep breath should have cleared something, made you feel some kind of way. Just taking a deep breath. It doesn't take long. It just bringing in that oxygen into your brain will help calm you down. You want to do a couple more of those when we get off of here. Just take maybe about 3 or 4 more deep breaths. 4 in, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. And you should feel a little bit better.
Awesome. I love that.
Thank you.
Giving us practical tips on how we can get rid of trauma and PTSD.
Thank you.
So what change do you hope to see in the workplace culture over the next 5 to 10 years when it comes to supporting trauma recovery and mental wellness?
I'm hoping to see that more Black professionals come into the profession of supporting each other, because we do need each other. We have we have different needs from other people, since we do have like a collective trauma being in the United States. I mean, it's still things that's happening here, especially going on, politically. So together now, I feel this is a time that we need to stand together and create something that is beautiful mentally for us and end this stigma. Because with this stigma is going to keep us apart, it's going to keep us separated. And I feel like if we can just break this down and look at it as any other illness like diabetes or something, don't look at a person, oh, they crazy. Look at them, oh, they got diabetes, they need medicine, they need help. Instead of making somebody feel bad about it, support them. Tell them to go get help if they want to, because they're not going to do it on their own sometimes. But the people that do, they progress.
Okay, so if you could give one piece of advice to an employer who is just beginning to address mental health and trauma in the workforce, what would it be?
To be compassionate, be empathetic, listen and support. Find out the best way to support the person based off of what they say to you. Look up stuff. If you have any friends that may have any kind of psychological background, degrees or whatever, talk. We have to talk. It has to be communication. You have to be willing to open your mouth and come out of your comfort zone. And it's a slow process, but it can be done. It's not impossible.
Absolutely. Are there any last remarks?
Just if you need any help, you need somebody to talk to, I do highly recommend 988 post-traumatic stress. Is something that no one should try to deal with on their own. It does take a village to bring awareness and to support each other. It's going to take this village to care.
Absolutely. Any last words, Nicole?
I just want to say, Tasha, thank you so much for turning your pain into this passion, right? This passion to help others break down the walls, the stigmas, and just provide education on this very topic right here. And thank you for inviting me on as a guest. It's an amazing, amazing show. Great questions. And I'm looking forward to what's next, because I think this was extremely educational, and I know that it's going to help someone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So where can they find you, Tasha, online?
I'm Tasha Hairston-Springs on Facebook, Mad Solutions, Mindfully Aware Driving Solutions on Facebook, and at LinkedIn, you can look me up as Tasha Hairston-Springs, or www.linkedin, and it's got the 2 slashes within .com. Y'all can look that up, because that's a whole lot. I'm trying to say too much right now, but just look up Tasha Hairston-Springs, and my information is on the free handouts that I gave. Hopefully you'll find it useful. Take what resonates with you, leave what doesn't, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Absolutely. Nicole, where can they find you?
But you can always find me at AWTA, which is www.aawta.org. And you can find these amazing ladies within the community. Make sure you're a part of who they are. This is what the community is about, is making sure that you're able to gravitate or find a meaning towards a purpose or whatever you're going through in your life. And these ladies have different avenues that they're touching. And one and the same. So make sure you stay connected with one of these amazing members and affiliate partners and leaders and everybody that's in ATA. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome. And I'm Natasha Jones, CEO of HD Screening and Laboratory. You can find me on all platforms, HD Screening Lab or HD Screening and Laboratory. We are your strategic workforce health and compliance partners. So reach out to us and we will get you straight. I want to thank you all for your time today, and I appreciate everything that was shared. I know that this is going to help a lot of people, and I look forward to more. Have a good night.